Yippee-ki-yay, melon farmer.
Hey, welcome back, knife nerds and everyday care people. It's your boy, the Big Canucker, and we're having a look at something here. No, it is not a pen, although I do have two of these. These are the two tactile turn pens. This is kind of an original generation, and this is one that was only made last year, so you can see there's a little bit of difference in them. But the one thing I got to say about these two tactile turn pens is they are extreme quality. The machining is spot on. And the design is absolutely fantastic. This one here is the first gen, and I like this pen, except for I didn't like the way it kind of came out at the end. It just seemed like it was a little bit weird. Like, I don't know, I didn't like the way that looked and the way it was kind of ready in my hand. It looked like it was recessed too much, and there was a little bit too much material at the end. It's just a weird thing. It's a little quirk of mine, but they've changed that in the second one. And the reason I'm kind of getting at this is because Tactile Turn is a company that is known for its machining, it's known for its extreme workmanship, and it's known for being built in the United States. So what we ended up doing is we ended up picking up here the Tactile Turn Maverick, and I was really, really excited to get this in my pocket and in my hand because I love these pens so much. And I have to say that they got it, I'm going to say probably about 75% right. There are some things about this knife that I do not like. There's many things that I do like, but I guess this is one of those times when my, what do you want to call it? My anticipation outweighed the actual reality. So let's have a look at this one here. This one here happens to be, this is the card for it. It's the Tactile Turn Maverick. It's in micarta. The blade is every time it says MC, I want to say Motorcraft because of Canadian Tire. But what the hell is this blade? All right, here is the card here. You can see here that it is the Maverick. It is made of micarta. The handles is micarta, and then we've got a magnet cut blade at 63-64 Rockwell hardness. That's extremely important. 63 to 64 Rockwell hardness, then you're really getting the true potential edge retention of this knife. There's a lot of guys who made the mistake of heat treating this a little soft, the 60-62, and it just did not perform like it should have. And one of the reasons was it wasn't heat treated hard enough. All right, and then we've also got whoever put this together here. I'm not sure if you can see that there. Aaron. Well, whoever put this together, I'm really thinking that guy needs to go a little bit back to knife school because this knife was not as smooth as I thought it was going to be. And that's one of the things we'll get to. Let's get over some stuff. Hope you guys are enjoying that video, but I also want to tell you guys, please don't forget to subscribe, as well as like, share, and comment in the bottom. I appreciate hearing from you guys so much. Now let's get back. All right, let's open it up. Let's do some size comparison because this is a fairly large size knife. I mean, this here we've got, of course, one of the EDC Hall of Famers here, the Paramilitary 2, and then we've got the Tactile Turn here. You can see they're very similar in overall length. And then, of course, we've got the other Hall of Famer here, the ZT0562 Crucarda, and you can see here that it's about the same size. You know what? This does not seem like as big a knife as it is. It just is. I guess part of the reason I think is because it's so thin and it's so light. And yeah. All right, let's have a look at the overall list here. We've got 8.18 inches long, so it's great size. 3.5 inches on the blade length. That's exactly what you want to have. Now the blade thickness here is 0.095, which is 2.4 millimeters. Yeah, 2.4 millimeter. Like, just come on, you guys, get with the program. The metric is the way to go. I know there's just Americans out there who are watching this, but damn it, the metric system. I guarantee you don't know how many foot's in a mile. Well, I don't know. It's 5,300 something. But I do know that it is 1,000 meters in a kilometer. Hey, how about that? Anyways, magnet cut blade, heated to 63 to 64 HRC, and that's the way you want to go, guys. They got the heat treat on this right. There was some people heat treating this very light, 60 to 62 when this first came out, and it wasn't performing near what the designer thought it should. And the problem was people weren't heat treating it very well. All right, overall thickness here is 0.42, which is really thin, quite a bit thinner than the half inch. And I think they're referring to this part right here, where the clip really sticks out, because this is not 0.42. It's a very, very thin knife. As you can see here, it is thinner than the Paramilitary 2, and quite a bit thinner than this ZT. So, but when you're talking about the clip, you can see that the clip is very, very thick. All right, 3.9 ounces too as well. She's very light and svelte, and the hardware is all titanium. Now on the Crew Carter, or the micarta version here, they've got this listed as stainless steel, so not a titanium clip. And yeah, so one of the things here that really caught my eye when they first got the knife is this micarta. Now, this is a really weird micarta. I've got some micarta knives, like as you can see here. This is a micarta knife. It's dyed. It's one of those materials that when it gets wet, it gets more grippy. Although this one's not. This one's almost like a sealed micarta. It is sealed enough that it's got some, I'm not sure if you guys can tell, but you can see that there's some mill lines in this. And I mean, that's just, you'd certainly expect something that coming from Tactile Turn or Tactile Knife Company to have some milled lines into it, because that's kind of the way that their claim to fame is. Everything is so precise. I mean, everything is milled to, a certain degree and certain thickness. They all start off as truly flat, and you know what? Their milling is absolutely outstanding. I just think that either this one kind of might have got away a little bit on them, or the way the guy put it together, it just wasn't perfect. Now, centering is excellent. I mean, I've got the centering is really, really good. There's no problems with that. The problem is I've seen every other one just be so drop shut, and this is not. This is very, very, I mean, it's smooth. Don't get me wrong when you're flicking it out, but they've got this thing here. I'm not sure what they call it. Crossbar lock. It's got a weird name for the lock on it, but it's basically almost like a Benchmade axis lock. It's got the ohm spring there inside there, and you know that with any Benchmade, you pull that thing back and they drop shut, no problem. That was a little bit of a pet peeve of mine. Now, granted, when I first got this thing was absolutely awful. I mean, it was not just not drop shut, it was very hard to flick it out. And I wondered, oh my goodness, is this, perhaps something that's a little thick on here? And I messed around with the pivot a little bit, and then all of a sudden it got out of whack and really, really wobbly when I did open it up. And so what I ended up doing is I took it completely apart and I totally cleaned it, and I give the pivot a nice polish on everything. The washers are all polished, and it did make quite a bit of difference, but it never, look, I can get it to drop shut action when you pull it out, but when you pull the, I get it to drop shut action when you pull the lock bar back, but then it's so wobbly. And even now, I mean, it's a little bit wobbly. That's one of the other pet peeves I got about this knife, is the fact that it's got steel liners in it, but you can press that closed. Now, not that I'm going to be kind of, pressing this closed, on a regular basis, but it just doesn't turn into, the whole thing has got a little bit of kind of wiggle to it. Now, they call this an American Workhorse is what they call it. Now, to me, that's a Workhorse knife. It's got very, very little flex. I mean, I'm really reefing on that. That's a Workhorse. This is more of a gentleman's folder. I mean, hey, this super thin blade, and there are some other, the Three Rivers Manufacturing, they've got some super thin blades, and, it's really slicey. I mean, this thing came sharp, wickedly sharp. I'm sure you could cut cardboard with this all day long, but I don't know if I would take this and put this in my pocket and I could survive on a desert island with it. I mean, I'd have to be very careful because an everyday carry to me means an everyday carry knife that is quite tough, and this doesn't seem really tough. It seems refined. It seems well designed for the most part, but it doesn't seem like it's a Workhorse. Now, there are some other things here that kind of bother me about it. And I don't want to like totally go bananas on this, but this clip here, I mean, although this clip does go into the pocket really well, there are other knives that have the pocket clip go in really well, but this, to me, creates a hot spot. I mean, like when I'm trying to grip this knife, it's so thin here, and I'm trying to, squeeze on it, and if I squeeze on it, I get a really bad hot spot. You can see where it's starting to leave a mark in my hand from just squeezing it. And then, if you adjust your grip and you're doing some, fine cutting, it's not bad. Your fingers get on it. You can see, but it's same thing. If you're doing over repetitive, that's kind of cutting into my finger. So I don't like the way this clip pops off that. I'm sure that it could be a little bit, it does, listen, hey, it does go into the pocket really well, and it sticks pretty decent, especially you got some jeans, they bunch up there, but it doesn't work with the knife as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it looks okay. I would have liked to have seen it kind of, see the way it kind of slopes this way? I would have liked to have seen it slope the other way. I think this would have followed the knife factor a little bit better. Now, they say that the pivots here are machined in the same lines. You can see those little lines there that get machined. Well, on this side here, when I was putting the knife together, and I actually kind of put this wrong, and you can see that it is opposite of these milled lines. And so it does look a little bit kind of dumb. And it was just, I was just trying to put together. This is not an easy knife to pull apart clean and to put back together with that kooky bar lock. Man, it's not easy at all. And by that time, I think I was getting a little bit frustrated, and I just didn't pay attention to that. And so rather than pull that all out, pop that out, spin it around, and put it back in, I'm just going to leave it that way. The next guy can deal with it because I've already treated this knife way. And it's just some knives just hit some people a little bit wrong, and this one just hit me a little bit wrong. All right, there is going to be another thing that I wish they could try and change. Now, I don't know if I've seen this already, but it looks like there is a spot that you could have some O-rings on here. Because now it doesn't bother me because I open up my knives with the nail of my thumb rather than the thumb pad. But if there are some guys out there who have got some dainty fingers, like I've got some dainty fingers, that seems to kind of, when you press onto it, it cuts a lot, but it just, it's not super comfortable. It's not super comfortable like there are some other thumb studs out there that have they don't have that kind of indentation. So I think if you put a couple little O-rings on there, that will definitely, take away that little bit of edge to the thumb studs. But overall, I just think this might be marketed a little bit different, and it may be different in the titanium version where you don't have that and you've got more rigidity. But with this micarta, and it's more like a G10 than a micarta. You can hear that, and then so you got some micarta here. It's just different. It's more like G10. So one of the things I think they should do is maybe polish this a little nicer, or just beef up on their liner locks, because very rarely have I ever seen a liner, stainless steel liners kind of flex like that. Like just the whole thing flexes. Just the whole thing, man. It's just, well, it's just, this one is not going to be for me. This one's going to go down the road. And I've traded it for a Wee Knives something or other that is a special edition, the one of 200 made, yada, yada, yada. Hopefully that gets in, and I like that a little bit better, but we'll find out. All right, so to sum up, this is $249 in the US of A, and in Canada here it is $375. Now, if there's going to be any sort of kind of tariffs coming up, they'll probably go higher. But at $375, I think there's a lot of things out there that can do the job as a Workhorse a little bit better. But if you're looking for a really classy looking knife that is going to be like a letter opener, or that is going to maybe, just do some cardboard at home, and your job is not super, super demanding. It's not a super threatening looking knife. It's a really good looking knife, but it's just not a Workhorse. And yeah, so this is probably like a 5 out of 10 for me. I was expecting a little bit more, and that maybe is why I am so down on this. So, hope you guys liked it. Hope you guys appreciated it. Hope you guys can please, don't forget to hit the old subscribe, as well as leave a comment in the bottom, like and share, help me to spread my voice. I appreciate it. You guys out there, please keep your stick on the ice, the shiny side up. This is the Big Canucker saying adios.